Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Jiten Chauhan, sailing as Chief Engineer. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any other nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow that ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here and have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or subtract, the world will little note nor longer remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they fought here and thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great risk remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and this government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Give him a big hand. See, now you can imagine if the first reading itself, after listening, first reading itself can be so good. Because when you write a speech, you practice it at home. Modi ji may not be writing his speeches, but he practices all the material for each and every occasion. So therefore, if you watch him, every time there is something new for which he comes prepared. He doesn't practice the speech, but the material he comes prepared. So therefore, you can see if just by listening once, you are doing so well. So by practicing, how advanced public speakers you all will be. Please continue.
Good morning to all. I am Hubert Raj, as second engineer, working as second engineer. 407 years ago.
A little higher pitch, please.
407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on the great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave these lives that the nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a large sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, and we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggle here, have consecrated it for above our poor power and to add or detract. The The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget that what they did here. It is for us the living rather to the dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated and to the great task remaining before us. That from those honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that this dead shall not have died in vain. That is, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Good, good. See, when you speak, it's always better if you are speaking to a large number of people, have a little longer pause at the full stop. Even if you are reading, most of the people read, but they can read very well if you have a little longer pause so that the eyes will read the next. Then you know what you are speaking. Please.
Good morning to all. My name is Rajesh Kumar. I am selling as engineer. I think half of the people I know and half of the people I don't know. Some of the new faces for me.
We all know you.
Okay, thanks for this opportunity. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth and on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
Longer pause, take a deep breath.
Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether the nation, any nation so convinced and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of the war. We have come to dedicate a portion of the field as a final resting place for those who have here gave their lives that the nation might live it. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But a larger sense, we cannot dedicate it, we cannot concentrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggle here have consented it far above our poor power to add or detract. The word will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, us take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these deed shall not have died in vain. That this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you.
Conquer the desert. As both sides seek to invoke the wonders of science instead of its terrors, together let us explore the stars, conquer the desert, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depth, and encourage the arts and commerce. Let both sides unite to heed in all corners of the earth the command of Isaiah to undo the heavy burdens and let the oppressed go free. And if a beachhead of cooperation may push back the jungle of suspicion, let both sides join in creating a new endeavor, not a new balance of power, but a new world of law, where the strong are just and the weak secure and the peace preserved. All this will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin. In your hands, my fellow citizens, more than mine, will rest the final success or failure of our course. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans has been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. The graves of young Americans who answered the call to service surround the globe. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though in battle we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance, north and south, east and west, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort? In the long...
So some of you who have not come, please come ahead.
Good morning, Captain
Good
Thomas.
morning.
I'm going to read from John F. Kennedy's inaugural address. Vice President Johnson, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chief Justice, President Eisenhower, Vice President Nixon, President Truman, Reverend clergy, fellow citizens. We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you, and Almighty God, the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. The world is very different now, for man holds in his mortal hands the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the world go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed, and to which we are committed today, at home and around the world. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
Thank you very much. Give it a big hand. Next.
Morning, everybody. I'm Captain Vijay Kumar. So I'll continue.
Yes, please continue. This much we pledge and more.
This much we pledge and more to those old allies whose cultural and spiritual origin we share. We pledge the loyalty of faithful friends. United there is little we cannot do in a host of cooperative ventures. Divided there is little we can do, for we dare not meet a powerful challenge at odds and split asunder. To those new states whom we welcome to the ranks of the free, we pledge our words that one form of colonial control shall not have passed away, merely to be replaced by a far more iron tyranny. We shall not always expect to find them supporting our view, but we shall always hope to find them strongly supporting their own freedom, and to remember that in the past, those who foolishly sought power by riding the back of the tiger ended up inside. To those people in the huts and villages of half the globe struggling to break the bonds of mass misery, we pledge our best efforts to help themselves for whatever period is required. Not because the communists may be doing it, not because we seek their votes, but because it is right. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich.
Thank you. Give him a big hand. Good. And increase the pause.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Paranshre. To our sister republics south of our border, we offer a special pledge to convert our good words into good deeds. In a new alliance for progress, to assist free men and free governments in casting off the chains of poverty. But this peaceful revolution of hope cannot become the prey of hostile powers. Let all our neighbors know that we shall join with them to oppose aggression or subversion anywhere in the America. And let every other power know that this hemisphere intends to remain the master of its own house. To that World Assembly of Sovereign States, the United Nations, our last best hope in an age where the instruments of war are far outpaced the instruments of peace, we renew our pledge of support to prevent it from becoming merely a forum for incentive to strengthen its shield of the new and the weak, and to enlarge the area in which its merit run. Finally, to those who would make themselves our adversary, we offer not a pledge, but a request that both sides begin anew the quest for peace before the dark powers of destruction unleashed by science engulf all humanity in planned or accidental self-destruction. We dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient, beyond doubt, can we be certain, beyond doubt, that they will never be employed.
Thank you very much. Give him a big hand. Very nice. Longer pauses and raise the pitch. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Bala, sailing as a first engine and good.
But neither can two great and powerful groups of nations take comfort from our present course
both sides overburdened by the cost of modern weapons, both rightly alarmed by the steady spread of the deadly atom, yet both racing to alter that uncertain balance of terror that says the hand of mankind's final war. So let us begin a new remembering on both